Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Koka. Today, I decided that I'm gonna go over a brief history of each nation and their origins and stuff like that. Each nation of Koka for that. So I decided to start with the first nation, first, oldest, all that good stuff. And that would be the Order of the Trees, nowadays referred as Rome, aka Rome, technically the Order of the Trees. So yeah, we're gonna start with them. So like I said, we're just gonna go over a brief history about them, and yeah, that should be it. So without further ado, let's just get started. As I said before, the Order of the Trees was the first nation in Koka. However, there was technically 6 First Nations. The Order of the Trees, the Order of the Eye, the Clan of the Horses, the Federation of Hearts, the Order of Goddess Hand, the Clan of the Wild, and yeah, that's it. Pretty sure that's 6. But those are the 6 quote-unquote Roman nations, I guess. So, first of all, whenever I talk about Rome in this channel, I will most likely talk, especially history, I'll definitely most likely talk about the Roman Civil War. And that's what this is, okay? The first major event and the first steps to Koka becoming what it is today was the Roman Civil War. However, I do feel I should talk about this Roman Civil War a little more. So, first of all, the Roman Civil War wasn't actually a civil war. So, Rome is the result of this war. These were 6 separate nations. The Order of the Trees, Order of the Eye, Federation of Hearts, Order of Goddess Hand, Clan of the Wild, Clan of the Horses. These are some territories. Forget about this. These are Eastern tribes. We don't talk about them. We're talking about these 6 right here. So, these 6 nations, think of them like the Greek states almost. They were all in the valley. All 6 of these nations were in the valley, but they were separate. The only difference between them and the Greek states was that they weren't actually one country. They were just 6 separate countries/nations, I suppose. I guess they were all in one region. Okay, you know what? Screw what I said before. Do think of them like the Greek states. They're all in the same region, but they see themselves as individual nations. That's better. And the Order of Trees was one of those. So, like I said, this wasn't actually a civil war. It was just 6 separate nations, like the Greek states, battling it out, having massive wars with each other. So in the end, the Order of the Trees comes out victorious in the end of the war, that we do officially call it the Roman Civil War, even though, like I said before, I'm going to continue to say this, it wasn't technically a civil war. However, as I was saying, the Order of the Trees did end up coming out as the winner, I guess the victor of this war. And so they united all 6 of these nations and formed Rome. So like I said before, Rome is the result of these 6 nations coming together. Now, the Order of the Trees is... So, when the Order of the Trees united these 6 nations into Rome, the Order of the Trees culture, military, and symbol, obviously, and pretty much everything about them was incorporated into the main gist of Rome. So, like I said, culture, military, symbol, all that, all the Order of the Trees stuff was incorporated into Rome. But however, obviously there was other cultures, because there's 5 other nations. But for the most part, it's just the Order of the Trees. So I want to talk about the Order of the Trees military for a second. Another reason why I like to compare the Order of the Trees to the Greeks is their military. Especially during the Civil War, like during the actual fighting when they weren't united, the Order of the Trees made hoplite-like soldiers. Round shield, spear, sword, and in a line formation, a phalanx, basically. I have some equipment here of really old Civil War era, Order of the Trees gear. Mostly this round shield and broken spear and sword here. That mostly for the Civil War Order of the Trees. I'll talk about the other two square ones in a minute, but this was basically it. All old, especially Civil War, era gear for the Order of the Trees was shields were worn on the right arm. Usually for right-handed people, you would wear the shield on the left, but instead they incorporated it to the right. In fact, because of this, a lot of those soldiers actually got their left arm a little, well, I shouldn't say their left arm was dominant afterward. Obviously, this was tricky for the soldiers, but once they actually got the hang of it, their left arm, they could actually fight with their left arm, if you know what I mean. It was no longer rendered useless for combat, because obviously it was their fighting hand now. And then obviously I was part of the Order of the Trees. And yes, I can now fight with my left arm because of this. But yeah, that was with a lot of people that were part of the Order of the Trees, however. Anyway, and then later in the later eras, these round shields were given to the commanders of the commanding officers of the newly founded Rome. So this new Rome, for the military, like I said, the culture of the Order of the Trees was incorporated into Rome for the most part. So goes their military. There were some changes, some major changes. I wouldn't say majors. There were some changes to the military, however. Obviously, the shields, these square shields. These shields were no longer round. They turned into square for the main infantry. Like I said, they gave these round shields to, commanding officers. But yeah, that's basically it. They, kept these Pila, they are Pilas. They kept the Pilas, the Civil War era Pilas, for a very, very long time. In fact, for a long time, these were, relatively speaking, these were outdated relatively, maybe like a year ago, outdated by these new Pilas here, which are obviously much better, but for a long time, these were used. Civil War ones. Anyway, so yeah, that was the main weapon. Actually, no, at that time, I'm thinking the wrong thing. During the Civil War era, all the way up to the Egyptian Wars, which I'll talk about later in another video, these Pilas were the main weapon, just like a Greek hoplite. And then, obviously, the sword, aka gladius, was the secondary. So, like I said, a lot of real-life civilizations have been incorporated in some of these fake Kokon nations. The reason for the square shield was obviously to make the shields bigger and to cover more of the body. But it was also to make it more symmetrical, if you know what I mean. I'm probably maybe slaughtering what I'm trying to say, I guess. Probably saying it wrong, but maybe I'm not. Anyway, basically, it was just to help lock the shields together. Obviously, a square is going to fit with another square, together and lock in formation, better than a round shield with a round shield will. So, the round shields were outdated, and they turned to these new square shields. I should also mention at this time during the Civil War era, and then early on in the before the Egyptian War, early on in Roman history and the Civil War, caps were not used as currency. It was bartering with goods, so like wood, mostly wood. For sacrifices to gods was basically dried grass, or as they called it, used to call it wheat. No, grain. No, wheat. That's right. We called it wheat. Bundles of wheat. Anyway, so wheat. I guess bundles of wheat. Mostly, like I said, wood. Tape. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess spray paint, I guess, to, polish the weapons. So, yeah, that was the currency back in the day. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. I'm definitely going to do a part 2 for this video on the Roman history origins in Coca, or I'll just call it Order of the Trees in the title, but, yeah, Rome. Anyway, so, like I said, I'll do a part 2 to this video to finish this little series, I guess. So, yeah, make sure you look out for that. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.